Hello, this is Eric and Aaron, and I would like to do a different kind of video that really has nothing to do with why I made this channel, but this is the place where I put my ideas and thoughts. This is my cathartic way of trying to spread my small message, and to summarize the video up front, nobody should ever play Raid Shadow Legends or any game managed by Polarium. The reason this is true is because Polarium and their parent company are unethical in how they manage their games. The reason they are unethical, for someone who is not familiar with how that game or their game development, game management system works, is that they are not upfront with what you're going to be spending as a player to continue enjoying the game. So that what you've invested in the context of your time and money, they are going to put that behind a fence that they didn't tell you existed, and you're not going to be able to access it unless you continue feeding them money. And to me, that just crosses a line that is unethical as a company. And I am a person who I actually manage my own company, and I rely on satisfying customers, and I believe in capitalism and making products that people want and providing them to people. I support all of those things, but Polarium really fooled me, and I basically feel ashamed. And so I wanted to just have a quick video that I could share to anyone who asks themselves when they see the advertisements about this game, and explain to them why they shouldn't start playing it. So, the first thing I want to say is Raid Shadow Legends is actually a fun game. I like the game. It is fun. If it wasn't fun, then you wouldn't play it. So the people who are not going to enjoy the game, they don't have to worry about it because they're not being targeted or marketed at. But for the people who enjoy the game, this is how I feel Polarium as a company is unethical, right? Now, I consider myself an expert in gaming generally, but not necessarily just in mobile games or microtransactional games. I played games since I was a kid. I played Pinnacle, I played Monopoly. I have a multiple thousand copies of board game collection. I really enjoy all types of games. I played EverQuest, I played World of Warcraft. I think games are very fun. I think most people enjoy them as a form of entertainment because of just the nature of games and what they can do. So I started playing this game. It's a beautiful game. Really, to me, I don't know the precise evolutionary history of mobile games because I haven't played as much as probably smarter people than me have played. But what it does is it has this simple game, but it does it so elegantly that you can essentially do all the things that you like in a game of team building, min-maxing, all these things that people generally like in this genre, but you can do it to where the individual tasks are not a long time taking. So the grinding is a lot more automated. So it's so enjoyable for me. Whereas, when I played Diablo 2, it was a great game. It was awesome. It was also an ethical game. But, you did have to spend a lot of time of just, clicking. And it required a lot of your own personal time just to farm gear and do the different things you had to do. What makes, in my mind, Polarium and Raid Shadow Legends cross over to become unethical, and I would even say predatory, is, let's say in Aaron's unified theory of microtransactioning, or the way to finance or sell a game, you have the actual ability to play a game, right? For most of my life, you paid a one-time fee and you played a game. And then, 99, and there's a few games before that came up with subscription models like EverQuest, and then Blizzard came out with their monster World of Warcraft. And I even felt that was a pretty, relatively ethical model of gaming. Sure, you can't play the game unless you play the subscription, but once you pay the pretty reasonable subscription, you can play it as much as you want. And it was priced, I think, at a very fair rate. There was no intent to take advantage of a player, right? So that's one area that they fund. The next area would be like things in the game, right? Like for Raid Shadow Legends, it's champions. You can purchase shards and open them and get different champions, right? And I think monetizing that is kind of a cool way to keep them special and rare. And it attracted to me in the beginning, and I don't really regret that in an isolated space, because if they just gave you all the champions for a one-time fee, they wouldn't feel special. But it feels special when you're collecting something. The same with Magic the Gathering, or baseball cards, or Hearthstone with their packs. Like, people like to collect things, and if you just give them everything, then there's no fun in that. So I kind of get that. And then there's also the monetization of stuff in the game. So like for Raid Shadow Legends, that the really pain in the rear piece would be like the skill tomes. You need skill tomes to make your champions better. So you have to either purchase them or purchase other resources to trade to get them. So you have these three areas, right? Now, I think there's kind of this logic that you have to, when you have three things, you have to pick two. And it's greedy to go after all three. Like, for example, like people will tell you when you want to purchase something, you can have a quality item, you can have a quickly delivered item, or you can have a cheap item. But you only get to pick two out of the three combinations, right? Well, with Plarium, they said no. All three of them are going to be paid. Again, up to this point, I don't think that they've become predatory or unethical. What is predatory and unethical on their part is that the main thing that keeps you purchasing resources in the game is energy, which is basically your ability to play the game. And it comes in different shapes and forms, but basically any task you want to do in the game requires you to spend energy. If you want to run a dungeon, if you want to run a campaign, it requires energy. Well, once you get from the early game to the mid game, you can go through the free energy they give you in a matter of 10 to 20 minutes, right? And then you're stuck, right? And so all those other things that you've purchased, you can't access them unless you go through the gatekeep of energy. And that is where it is predatory, because they give you for free, because they're so kind, they give you basically through their reward system, through logging in and the other rewards that come along, they give you enough energy to go from the early game into the mid game, enough energy for free. So you don't have to buy anything, right? But once you get into the mid game, a lot of players who have purchased something, right, they want to continue using that, right? But now they can't because they don't have enough energy, right? And that, I think, is the predatory point, is that there are, you can prove this by just looking through their forums, the sheer number of people that are upset that are now in the mid game, but now they can't access what they purchased. Moreover, This company spends an incredible amount of money in marketing, right? Because they need to get new players, because they're running the same scam on the same group of players. This company, I don't have their numbers. I'm not looking at their books, but I can infer from the actions of their parent company and their evaluation that basically they have two groups of people that they make money from. They have some people who just are either addicted or rich or whatever, and they will pay any sum of money to play the game and get whatever they want. And to be honest, to that group of people, power to them, because by the time they reach that point, they know what they're getting into. I don't have a problem with a company having that design. But what makes Plarium an unethical and predatory company is that they're taking the profits they're making and just advertising because they want to get, more people to try out the early game, spend in the early game, get stuck in the mid game, and then, it's up to them. You can either just continue wasting your money, become one of this group of people that gives them tons of money, or you can quit. And that's what. And they wouldn't have to spend money on continued marketing if that weren't true. So that's what they're trying to do. They get the early game. They basically indirectly lie to you. They don't really. There's no way for you to figure out that, oh, I'm gonna run out of this energy eventually that they're giving me for free because they're so kind, because they're giving me these gifts. And so that's my basic message. And I'd like to do a part 2 of this video where I go into more detail about how these small things they're doing are unethical. But I just wanted to get out a general message of don't play this game. Don't play games managed by this company. Because this is the funny thing. They were bought by a casino parent company, right? So why would a casino company invest in a gaming company like this? It's because they know that what they're doing as a casino, where they're trying to bring in people to spend money that they're going to lose, that management system is going to be able to incorporate into Plarium. And so Plarium is never going to change. And so they're just going to continue spending dollars to get in new customers who are going to spend money and then either go free to play or they're going to, jump into the big pond of spending as much money as they can afford. And it really is just predatory. I think this practice in any other industry that had regulations would be stopped. They wouldn't allow it. If you go to Las Vegas, right? And you want to go to a casino and play, there are rules that those casinos have to follow because that's a regulated industry. Yet, this microtransactional industry is completely unregulated. There's nobody watching out for the players, right? So your only resource is to essentially go after them and try to fight your credit card charges. And I don't know the success people have done doing that. So I'm frustrated. And that's why I made this video. I know I'm not as powerful as some giant company and they can share and they can spend the money to get this video shared. But if you're somebody who's played it and someone asks you, hey, why shouldn't I play it? Well, you don't have to type out a response. You could share this video with them and I will explain why you shouldn't play it. It's because they're predatory in how they are going to try to get you to spend money on a game that you'll never own. You will never own this game. No matter how much, there are people who have spent $50,000 or more dollars in this game, and as soon as they run out of their gems and their energy refills, they can't access their champions. They have a $50,000 account, and as soon as they run out of resources, as soon as they stop giving money and spend what they have left of their resources, they can't access any of the things that they've built up, and that's just it's wrong, and it's predatory. And so the lesson I learned, this is the first, actually no, this is not the first microtransactional game, but it's the first predatory microtransactional game I've ever played. I feel bad because I feel bad anytime someone's been conned, they feel bad. I feel like I've been conned by this company. And the best thing I can do is cathartically try to help someone else learn from my lesson. And then I'm going to try to apply the lesson to my own life. And I'm going to be a lot more aware of some type of predatory system before I make a purchase again. Now, I think mostly this will only ever apply to microtransactional games, but it's a way to look at spending and your own time and the value of your time as it relates to money. It's given me an opportunity to think about it a lot more, and I kind of feel like when you've been given something that's negative, the best thing you can do is try to turn it as positive as you can. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I still like the game. I'm going to try playing it a little bit, mainly because my son likes playing it with me, but I will never give another dime to Polarium into this game because they dupe people. And if you've listened this far, which probably you haven't, this is content creators. You guys are getting ripped off. Polarium is feeding you gems and energy, just a tiny fraction of value to get you to build content. And why? Do they care if you have content? No. But your content is building communities which are making people feel better about spending their money, spending their resources. Which, if you as content creators were getting a share of that, I would be like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. It's a mixed bag of ethics, but you're getting yours. But you're not. Polarium's not sharing their profit with you. So these top 10 or 20 content creators, which almost all of them seem like pretty decent people. Like there's some of them I'm like, that seems like a really nice guy. I kind of like listening to them talk. I think you're getting duped doubly. Not only are you into the dupe of the game, but you're also getting duped into giving the most highest of value marketing to this company. I mean, because think about it, this company, they actually don't build their own community whatsoever. Like I saw the interview with Hell Hades and their community manager. Like she was clueless about what the actual community was. And it's clear that they're completely reliant on these content creators. And if they pay the content creators any fair share of what they're actually bringing into the company, I get it. But they're not. They're duping you as much as anything else. So don't play this game. Don't give Polarium money, because it's frankly, if you did the equivalent of what they were doing on the street, with a table, whether it's the 3-card Monty or whatever, you're going to be put in jail. And fortunately for Polarium, there's this special time where that they've essentially built this new market. Not they, I mean, gaming companies have built this new market, and Polarium is on a way extreme of how predatory they are, and they are early to the game, so they're not regulated. And I kind of do think and wonder, at some point, is someone going to say, hey, wait, you guys are going to have to get regulated. I mean, it's going to basically take a public movement to complain about the charges that they've received from this game, and then not having anything to show for it. Like, I believe like in a one-to-one exchange. Like, if you buy a game and get it, I don't think you have a right to complain. You get to play the game. But that's the thing. You never own the game with Raid or Polarium games. You'll never own the things that you have. And there's not even a subscription wall to access it on a fair one-to-one ratio. You're always going to be reliant on them using the manipulative tactics that they use to continue feeding them money. So, I learned my lesson, trying to make something negative into a positive, and learn from your mistakes. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, and hopefully maybe you can learn from mine.